Hello, everyone. Welcome inside the Parlay Studios. And the man to my right here is Harley Redlick, a.k.a. Sharp Edge Picks. And you know when he's in here, class is in session. Get a pen, paper, take some notes. You just might learn something. Harley, the MLB All-Star break is here. The All-Star game is tonight. But before we get into that, you have a pick for us. But before we get into that, let's talk about the second half of the season. There's some hot teams. The Yankees, the Astros, the Dodgers, the three best teams in the MLB. But you plan on betting against them in the second half. Why?
Yes, I would definitely bet against all three super teams in the second half. They have huge leads in their divisions, 9+ games. They're going to win their divisions. They're going to get the buys. Managers aren't going to admit it, but they're focused right now for those three teams on October baseball.
Right.
Long playoff runs. That means shortening starting pitching starts from 6 or 7 innings to 4 or 5, so you don't get their aces for as long into the game. Maybe extending the rotations out a little bit. Maybe trying mediocre relievers in clutch situations. I don't think the odds are going to reflect this because everybody loves betting these super teams and they keep crushing. So the opportunity is to go the other way, especially when they're on the road and you can get the home teams. They'll rest more players on the road. You can take the home dogs, parlay them with the unders. If you watch any of our archive videos, I love that parlay. That's a great correlated parlay. Fade those three super teams in the second half.
When it comes to the Yankees, they're chasing some history, obviously. They want the 116 wins. Is that a concern, thinking about maybe they want to be pushing towards that?
Not in late July. Maybe come September 20th, if there's 10 games to go and if they go 8-2 or 7-3 and they could break the record, maybe they consider it. Even then, I highly doubt that breaking the record is going to be a focus for them when the key is whether or not they win the World Series.
Yeah, and so in July, too, they were kind of slipping 6 and 7 months of July. I want to touch on the Astros quickly. They have a lead in the AL West by about 9 games, but they're being chased down by the Seattle Mariners.
Yes,
the red hot 14-game winning streak. Should the Astros be concerned?
9 games is still a ton when you run the math over 70 games or so that we have left. I mean, even if the Astros played just over 500 ball at like 37 and 33, the Mariners would have to play like almost 700 ball to catch them. A 9-game lead is huge. The Mariners will obviously be contending with the Jays and whoever it is, the Guardians or the Twins that don't win the division, and the Red Sox and the Rays for the wild cards. But the Astros lead is safe.
And so a couple hot teams. It's the Mariners and the Orioles, probably two of the hottest teams leading into the All-Star break. But it's the Mariners that's the team you want to back.
For sure. Again, it's a function of the divisions and the scheduling. Baltimore has to play the majority of their games against Tampa, the Red Sox, the Yankees, and the Jays. 4 teams that are above 500, better than Baltimore, more talented. Deep payrolls, or not in the case of the Rays. The other 3 teams have payrolls that are like 3 times as big as Baltimore's. I mean, Scherzer gets paid more than the entire Baltimore team, if you can kind of get your head wrapped around that. So kudos to the Orioles for turning it around. But with the way the divisions work, Seattle plays with a Houston team that's cruising, and then the Angels, Rangers, and A's, who are 3 of the weaker teams in the league. It lines up really good for Seattle in the second half.
I don't trust the Orioles either, but that's pretty impressive what they did last month. 10 wins in a row, which they haven't done, I think, since the Ripken days. Shows you how bad the Orioles have been for such a long time.
Yeah.
All-Star games. I don't really like to bet them because I just don't know how to go about betting them, the strategy-wise. How do you approach betting those games?
So my approach to All-Star games is to kind of study the overall dynamics. And the baseball All-Star game is in one category and every other All-Star game is in the other category.
Why is that?
Because nobody tries hard on D in All-Star games.
Yeah.
The Pro Bowl became such a joke that the NFL just had to get rid of it because you don't want to tackle or hurt anybody. The NBA is obviously an open dunk competition, launch threes, nobody playing D, shooting in 5 seconds, not 24. And the scores reflect that, 170, 180 points aside versus 100, 120 that we usually see. Hockey All-Star game the same way. What's the final score in the Hockey All-Star games? 10-8.
Yeah.
They changed
multiple games as well.
They started changing it to multiple games, but back when they had the game. Baseball, on the other hand, is the exact opposite. You have awesome pitchers who are just pitching 1 inning, who are giving it their all. The hitters aren't used to seeing the pitchers because of the opposite league, so it leads to the exact opposite dynamic, and we see it. The over-under in the All-Star game, even with all these awesome hitters. I mean, you know who's hitting 9th for the American League? Kirk.
Yeah. Who hits everything.
He hits everything. The dude's hitting 9th. That's the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Given all that, I still like the under. under 7.5 runs in the game. Again, I expect a tight defensive game. The pitching is amazing. So is the hitting. Great pitching, beats better hitting. And the 7.5 is awesome. Another note for our viewers, if you can get 8 and lay a little extra juice, it's really, really good to do in this All-Star game, because the way the scoring is going to work, if it goes into extra innings, a 4-4 game will then award a winner based on a home run competition. But it doesn't look like they're going to award it as 5-4. It'll be very similar to soccer, where teams tie 4-4, and then there's a little asterisk next to who wins in penalty kicks, but you don't get to the 9. So if you can buy a little bit extra and get it at 8 and lay -125, -130, I would even do that. That's the play in the All-Star game.
All right, let me just mention this All-Star tie. I'm going to read it out to you. It's official. Should the All-Star game be tied after 9 innings, the game will be settled by a home run derby. Harley, each manager will select 3 batters to participate, and each batter will get 3 swings. Whoever has a total at the end wins. What do you think about that? It's entertaining.
It's
right?
entertaining.
If it gets
it's
that point.
Gimmicky. I mean, they're not playing for anything anymore. It was more fun when they were playing for something. I agree they can't get into extra innings. They don't want 11, 12, 13 inning games, and this is kind of fun-y, but I don't know. I mean, if the All-Star game drags on for 3-4 hours and it's midnight on the East Coast, I don't know if I'll still be up watching it.
Do you have a pick on the money line, or are you staying away from that?
I'm staying away from that. My one play on the All-Star game is to take the under, ideally under 8, lay 125 if you can.
Under 7.5 at the moment. Listen to Harley. He is the man. Make sure you follow him at Sharp Edge Picks on Twitter. He'll be here every week discussing everything in terms of sports betting.